Did you know brownies were invented in Chicago? Welcome to LeeA, where I make America's most loved dishes and twist them just enough to make purists nervous. Today we're making Chicago brownies, the original fudgy, dense brownies that started it all back in 1893. But here's my twist. I'm adding a layer of orange marmalade glaze on top. Because honestly, chocolate and orange is one of those combinations that just works. Now, most brownie recipes use the basic melted butter method. But stick around, because I'm using a technique that involves whipping eggs with hot sugar syrup. It's what gives these that insanely fudgy, super chewy texture. And later on, I'll show you the one trick that guarantees perfectly clean slices. All right, let's start with some prep work. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Give it at least 30 minutes to really stabilize. Lay out parchment paper, sift 1 1/4 cups of bread flour and 1/2 cup of cocoa powder onto it. Then pour into a bowl. Set it aside. Now for the chocolate. In a bowl, combine about 1 1/2 cups of dark chocolate and about 1/3 cup of white chocolate. Add about 1 1/4 sticks of unsalted butter. Set up a double boiler and melt everything together until it's completely smooth. Take it off the heat and let it cool slightly. Crack 4 eggs into a bowl. Set that aside too. Now here's where it gets interesting. We're making a sugar syrup, and this is what separates good brownies from legendary brownies. In a saucepan, add 3 cups plus 3 tablespoons of sugar. Pour 1 cup of water over it. Heat this on medium-low until it reaches exactly 250 degrees Fahrenheit. This is called the firm ball stage in candy making. While that syrup is heating, start beating your eggs on medium speed. You want them to double in volume and get foamy and light. This is creating structure. Here's the key. You need to time this perfectly. The syrup and the eggs should be ready at the same time. If the syrup sits too long, it'll start to crystallize. If the eggs sit too long, they'll deflate. Watch that syrup carefully. Once it gets close to 250, the temperature climbs really fast. Keep that candy thermometer in there. The second it hits 250 degrees Fahrenheit, turn your mixer to medium-high. Slowly pour that hot syrup into the whipping eggs in a thin, steady stream. This is called pâté à baume in French pastry. It's the same technique they use for making mousses and some buttercreams. The hot sugar cooks the eggs just enough to make them safe while also creating this incredibly stable, airy base. Crank the speed up to high and beat for 10 minutes. You're looking for a pale yellow color, thick ribbons when you lift the beaters, and a texture that's almost like soft marshmallow. This aeration is what gives the brownies that fudgy, chewy texture instead of cakey. Transfer this to a larger bowl. Pour in your melted chocolate mixture and beat until combined. Add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now add your sifted flour and cocoa mixture along with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Beat until smooth. Mix on medium speed just until everything is uniform. Don't overmix, or you'll deflate all that air we just worked so hard to incorporate. Grease a 9 by 13 inch baking pan with butter. Line it with parchment paper and trim any excess. Pour the batter in and spread it evenly with a spatula. Sprinkle about 1 1/2 cups of roughly chopped walnuts on top. Bang the pan on the counter a few times to release air bubbles. Bake for 50 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While that's baking, let's make the orange marmalade. I'm using Cutie's mandarin oranges here. My daughter is obsessed with these. She goes through like 3 boxes a week. And honestly, I don't blame her. They're way sweeter and more floral than regular oranges. Plus, they're seedless, which makes them perfect for this. But any fresh orange will work. You'll need about 1 pound of peeled fruit. Peel and cut them into small pieces. Put the fruit in a saucepan. Add about 1/3 cup of sugar and mix it with a spatula. Add about 4 teaspoons of water. Squeeze in about 4 teaspoons of lime juice through a strainer. I'm actually using a leftover lime from that key lime pie I made last time. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out after this one. Stir everything together. You'll notice the fruit starts releasing juice. Cook over medium heat, stirring constantly, until it comes to a rolling boil and thickens up. Look at how it coats the spatula. Leave it in the pot. All right, brownies are done. Take them out and let them cool. Now for the glaze. Bloom 1 teaspoon of gelatin in 1 cup of cold water. Pour the gelatin and the soaking water directly into that pot of orange marmalade. Stir well. Heat over medium until it comes to a boil. Blend everything until smooth. Let it cool to room temperature. Once the brownies are completely cool, pour the orange glaze over the top. Spread it evenly into the fridge for at least 30 minutes to set. Now here's the pro tip. If you want perfectly clean slices, put the whole pan in the freezer for 3 to 4 hours before cutting. The glaze will be firm and your knife will glide right through. Let me cut into this. Look at that. Dense, fudgy brownie base with crunchy walnuts and that glossy orange layer on top. Time to taste. Oh wow! The brownie is incredibly fudgy and super chewy with this almost truffle-like texture. The walnuts add crunch and a little bitterness that balances the sweetness. And that orange glaze, it's bright, slightly tangy, and cuts through all that chocolate richness perfectly. This is what brownies were meant to be. Dense, indulgent, and just a little bit fancy. So there you have it. Chicago brownies with an orange twist. Sometimes the classics just need a little citrus to make them perfect. Drop a comment and tell me what state I should tackle next. Chicago, you absolutely do not suck.